Planet Fitness signs up more than 6,500 paying members for locations that physically hold only about 300 people at a single time. This massive capacity gap is a deliberate business strategy designed to maximize revenue from membership volume. While gym doors stay open 24 hours a day to welcome the public, the industry hides a quiet reality where 50% of all new members quit their contracts within 90 days. This rapid churn leaves the median independent gym owner with a net annual income of just $36,000, according to reports by the International Health Racquet and Sports Club Association. To understand how a business built on health can leave its owners financially starved, one must examine the hidden numbers behind the glass facades and steel weight racks. Many prospective owners sign commercial leases believing they have found a perfect formula for passive income, only to find themselves trapped in a high-stakes game of member acquisition. This dynamic creates a constant struggle against attrition that forces independent operators to run just to stay in the same place. In 2024, a veteran fitness operator watched his bank account drain by $12,000 a month. Despite his facility having 800 active members on paper, he discovered that the cash flow from memberships could not cover the basic expenses of keeping the lights on and the machines running. The empty treadmills during off-peak hours were silent reminders of a model that requires constant volume to survive. Every week, commercial spaces across the country welcome new owners who believe they have beaten these odds, but many of them will face a quiet financial trap that starts with the very floor they stand on. They enter the market fueled by personal passion, convinced that their love for training will translate into business success. They soon learn that the gym floor is not just a place for exercise, but a high-overhead retail space where every square foot must justify its cost. The dream of gym ownership almost always begins with a simple sketch on a napkin. An aspiring entrepreneur looks at a community of fitness enthusiasts and calculates that 500 members paying $50 a month will yield $25,000 in monthly revenue. This calculation makes gym ownership look like the ultimate passive income business, because members pay their dues automatically every month whether they show up to exercise or stay home on the couch. The passion for health combines with the allure of recurring revenue to create an apparently perfect business opportunity. A fitness lover imagines spending their days coaching clients and maintaining equipment while software automatically processes member credit cards in the background. They envision a self-sustaining community that pays for its own facility while generating a steady profit for the owner. This clean paper sketch, however, completely ignores the realities of commercial real estate and equipment depreciation. It assumes that members are permanent assets who never cancel, and that landlords do not demand personal guarantees. The spreadsheet logic makes success look inevitable, prompting many enthusiasts to empty their savings accounts or take on heavy debt to fund their vision. They focus on the positive feedback from friends and family who promise to join, ignoring the broader market statistics that paint a far more difficult picture. The reality of turning this simple sketch into a physical location starts with a brutal wake-up call regarding startup costs. Equipping a commercial gym with professional-grade machines requires a massive upfront investment that catches many first-time buyers off guard. Outfitting a standard 5,000 square foot facility with commercial strength and cardio lines from brands like Life Fitness or Hammer Strength costs between $50,000 and $180,000. Buying cheaper residential equipment is not a viable option because domestic machines will wear out and break down within months under the constant abuse of daily commercial use. Beyond the machines, the physical space itself demands a costly build-out before the doors can open. Transforming a raw commercial shell into a clean fitness facility costs between $25 and $75 per square foot for a typical 5,000 square foot gym. This build-out alone requires between $125,000 and $375,000. These funds pay for heavy-duty rubber flooring, safety mirrors, reinforced electrical lines, commercial plumbing, and upgraded heating and ventilation systems. A standard retail space is rarely ventilated for dozens of sweating people, meaning that upgrading the air conditioning systems alone can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Adding locker rooms, showers, and bathrooms adds another layer of plumbing complexity that quickly inflates the construction budget. An owner must also pay for business licenses and general liability insurance deposits. These pre-opening administrative costs add another $15,000 to $40,000 to the initial budget before the first member even walks through the door. When all these expenses are added together, the total startup cost for a low-end, stripped-down independent gym sits around $100,000. To open a properly equipped, modern facility, that number easily climbs past $500,000. If an operator decides to enter the premium boutique fitness market, they can expect their startup costs to range from $300,000 to well over $1 million. These boutique spaces often require expensive custom branding and high-end lighting rigs. The sheer scale of these initial expenses means that very few owners can self-fund their projects, forcing them to rely on outside capital. Faced with these steep entry barriers, most owners must find creative ways to secure funding, which introduces them to the complex world of commercial debt. The most common pathway to funding a new fitness center is through a Small Business Administration 7 loan. This government-backed program typically covers between 50 and 70% of the total startup costs, leaving the owner to cover the remaining balance out of pocket. To secure this loan, the owner must present a detailed business plan and prove they possess significant personal assets as collateral. The bank will often place a line on the owner's home or other personal property to secure the debt, raising the personal stakes of the venture. For the equipment itself, owners frequently turn to specialized equipment financing companies. These loans carry high interest rates that currently range from 7 to 14%, and they require down payments between 10 and 25% of the total purchase price. While these lenders are more willing to work with new businesses than traditional banks, the high interest rates can quickly drain any potential profits. Some landlords offer tenant improvement allowances to help cover the cost of construction, but these allowances are highly negotiated and never guaranteed. Even when a landlord agrees to fund a portion of the build-out, the money is often structured as a reimbursement after the work is completed, forcing the owner to front the cash. These debt arrangements mean that before the gym even opens, the owner is carrying a heavy monthly payment obligation that will pressure their cash flow for years. The monthly debt service becomes a permanent weight around the neck of the business, requiring a constant stream of new sign-ups just to keep the bank satisfied. Once the construction dust settles and the equipment is bolted down, the operator faces the ongoing reality of monthly overhead. Rent represents the largest and most dangerous fixed cost for any physical fitness business. Commercial real estate data shows that suburban leases cost between $12 and $22 per square foot, while urban locations command between $25 and $50 per square foot. A suburban 5,000 square foot facility leased at a moderate rate of $16 per square foot requires a monthly payment of $6,600. Landlords generally demand a lease term of 5 to 10 years, backed by a personal guarantee from the gym owner. This guarantee means that if the business fails, the owner remains personally responsible for paying the rent for the entire remaining duration of the contract. A single failed business can lead directly to personal bankruptcy if the lease is not structured carefully. Beyond rent, utilities add a substantial variable expense because keeping a large space cool and well ventilated requires constant electricity. Monthly utility bills for a mid-sized facility range from $2,000 to $5,000 depending on the season. Running multiple commercial air conditioning units 10 to 15 hours a day creates utility bills that rival the cost of rent in some markets. In addition to regular utility bills, maintaining commercial heating and cooling systems requires a specialized service contract that costs another $150 a month. The debt service on a $100,000 equipment loan adds approximately $2,000 a month over a 60-month term. Staffing represents another massive financial burden that owners cannot ignore if they want to keep their facility clean and operational. Annual payroll for a basic staff ranges from $80,000 to $120,000. This payroll must cover front desk workers at $45,000 to $55,000 and coaches at $30,000 to $50,000 each. Finding and retaining qualified coaches is a constant struggle, as low wages often lead to high employee turnover and inconsistent service quality. General liability insurance, which protects the business against injuries and lawsuits, adds between $3,000 and $8,000 a year. Member management software platforms like MenBody and ABC cost between $200 and $800 a month to manage class schedules and payment processing. These software fees are often accompanied by transaction fees on every credit card swipe, which quietly chip away at the gross revenue. Credit card processors take a percentage of every transaction, meaning that processing $25,000 in membership dues costs the owner around $750 in merchant fees. When you add all these costs together, the monthly operating overhead for a typical independent gym sits between $15,000 and $35,000 before the owner can take any personal draw. To meet this massive monthly obligation, the owner must maintain a large base of paying members, which introduces the hardest challenge in the industry. The financial model of a traditional gym is constantly fighting against a high rate of member turnover. Industry data from the International Health Racquet and Sports Club Association reveals that 50% of all new members drop their memberships within 90 days. This attrition is not unique to poorly managed gyms, but is rather a consistent consumer behavior pattern across the entire fitness sector. People sign up with high motivation in January, but by March their enthusiasm fades and they cancel their contracts to stop the financial leak. Gym revenues are highly seasonal, with a massive spike in January followed by a slow summer slump when members prefer to exercise outdoors. This seasonality means that an owner must build a cash reserve during the winter months to survive the dry summer period when new sign-ups dry up. To replace these departing members, owners must spend money on marketing and advertising to attract new ones. The cost to acquire a single new member through online ads and promotion ranges from $30 to $80. For a gym with 500 members experiencing a standard 20% annual attrition rate, the owner must sign up 100 new members every year just to keep their membership count flat. This replacement cycle requires spending between $3,000 and $8,000 annually on marketing just to avoid shrinking. If the acquisition cost rises, the marketing budget can quickly consume the slim profit margins of the business. If the gym has a lower monthly overhead of $15,000, they need 333 members paying an average of $45 a month just to reach their break-even point. If the overhead sits at $35,000, that break-even target skyrockets to 778 members paying $45 a month. Achieving this high member count in a competitive market requires either a massive physical space or an entirely different business model. Because physically fitting 700 people into a standard space is impossible, large chains have developed an entirely different way to structure their business. Planet Fitness has turned the traditional gym model on its head by designing facilities that rely on members who never show up. By charging a low fee of $10 to $25 a month, a single location can sign up more than 6,500 paying members. The physical building, however, can only hold about 300 people at one time. This business model is built on the statistical reality that the vast majority of members will not use the facility on any given day. Planet Fitness openly discloses this operating strategy in their Securities and Exchange Commission 10K filings. They rely on the low price point to discourage active attendance while maintaining a steady cash flow from the inactive membership base. The corporate gym model relies on this asymmetry, where the vast majority of revenue is generated by people who are essentially donating to the franchise. The low price of $10 a month creates a near-zero psychological barrier for members who want to cancel. A person who rarely visits a gym might keep their membership active for years because the monthly cost is too small to notice on their bank statement. If they decided to cancel, the minor saving would register as insignificant, so they leave the subscription active indefinitely. This model allows large corporate gyms to generate massive recurring revenue while keeping their physical facilities clean and uncrowded. The brand's marketing strategy is designed to appeal specifically to the 80% of the population that does not actively exercise. They create a non-intimidating atmosphere by banning heavy bodybuilding exercises and offering free food like pizza and bagels on specific days. Unfortunately, independent gym owners cannot easily replicate this volume-based strategy. Without the buying power and brand recognition of a national franchise, a local operator cannot survive on $10 memberships. They simply do not have the marketing reach to attract thousands of ghost members to a single location. This limitation forces independent owners to choose between the high-volume model and the premium boutique space. Boutique fitness studios address the pricing problem by charging high premium rates. These specialized studios charge members between $150 and $300 a month for access to group classes or personal coaching. This premium pricing allows boutique gyms to remain profitable with a much smaller member base than a traditional gym. A studio with 150 members paying $200 a month can generate $30,000 in monthly revenue, matching the income of a much larger facility. Members who pay these high rates are often highly committed, resulting in lower churn rates and stronger community engagement. Boutique studios require significantly higher startup costs due to the premium finishes and specialized layouts they must offer. The space must feel exclusive and high-end, which requires expensive design work and top-tier instructors. Industry reports show that nearly 40% of boutique fitness studios fail within their first 2 years of operation. While the margin per member is high, the addressable market for people willing to spend $200 a month on fitness is very narrow. If a local competitor opens nearby with slightly newer classes or trendier instructors, the boutique studio can lose its entire membership base within months. Even if an owner manages to capture this narrow market and keep their members happy, they face another hidden financial hurdle that arrives later. Many prospective gym owners forget that commercial fitness equipment does not last forever. Commercial cardio machines like treadmills and stationary bikes have an average service life of 5 to 7 years under heavy daily use. Treadmills run for several hours every day, meaning that their motors and belts wear out regardless of the brand. Strength training equipment lasts longer, but cables and upholstery must be replaced regularly to prevent injuries and maintain safety standards. Gym members expect clean and functioning machines, and a single row of broken treadmills can prompt them to look for another facility. When the cardio equipment reaches the end of its life, the owner must make a major capital reinvestment to keep the facility competitive. Replacing 20 worn-out treadmills can easily cost $100,000, representing a major financial shock that many business plans fail to anticipate. If the gym has not set aside a reserve fund from their monthly profits, they must take on new debt to fund the replacement. This cycle of recurring debt can trap a gym in a permanent state of low profitability, leaving the owner unable to take a meaningful salary. The owner ends up working for the equipment finance companies rather than themselves, constantly upgrading machines to satisfy the bank. Surviving this equipment cycle requires a level of financial planning that separates successful operators from those who close their doors. The owners who succeed in this difficult industry do not compete on price. They track member retention as their primary weekly metric instead of focusing solely on new sign-ups. Successful independent operators build personal training and specialized coaching directly into their business model to increase revenue per square foot. They understand that coaching services carry much higher profit margins than simple access to weight machine. They calculate the exact acquisition cost of a member before setting their membership pricing. They sign long-term commercial leases with a clear understanding of the 10-year personal liability they are undertaking. They do not assume that they can run the gym as a side hobby, but rather dedicate themselves to the daily grind of facility management and staff supervision. Ultimately, the fitness business is a real estate and marketing game wrapped in the promise of health. The independent gym owners who survive are those who treat the weight racks as commercial assets rather than a personal passion project. Those who fail to master this math will see their dreams fade, joining the thousands of silent members who pay every month for a room they never enter.